Hi, I'm Tim and this is Timberway Designs. In this series of videos, I'll take a rough rock or a slab of a rock and I'll run you through the whole process of how I make a cabochon out of that, from the rough rock to the shiny cab. So this week, I got a piece of Labradorite. Let's make a cabochon. So today, we have a piece of Labradorite. This is the rough piece right here. And the cool thing about that is you get this color like a prism effect. Let me see if I can get some to shine on this stone here. Right there in the bottom, see that blue right there? And right there, you can kind of see it. It's called Labrador essence. I'll put the word right there because pronouncing these words aren't my big deal here. Now you can see some there. Now the trick with this stuff here is, depending on the angle, how the light hits it is when you're going to see the color. So see, you can see it right there too. So when you cut these, you got to cut them like you were going to look at them. And sometimes you get it and sometimes you don't. So I went ahead and I slabbed up some for this week's project. And there's kind of what I'm looking for right there. So when I make the cab, I'd have to come from the back side, but I don't think it's going to happen on this one here. I don't know if it's thick enough to recover from that. But this is what you want the cabochon to look like. I got another chunk here I sliced up. Get it wet here real quick. A lot easier to see the shine. Look at that. And see, what's weird is that kind of looks good there, but if I turn it this way, there ain't nothing. So it's kind of a gamble when you're cutting this stuff up. Now I'll turn this around right there, and then I'll turn it around and there's nothing. So I've done this stuff before. It finishes up fairly well. Kind of impressed. So this piece here, I'm not going to get it wet, but we're going to go with the teardrop or the pear shape. I know I've been throwing a lot of pear shapes at you, but I think this is a good fit for this stone here. So get it right about there. Take my ultrafine Sharpie. And there we go. So this will be the back side and this will be the front side. So the only problem is this stuff's kind of crumbly, so we'll have to see how it holds up during the process. So we're going to take it downstairs and trim these corners off here, and then we'll go right on the cab machine and see what we can come up with. And the other thing with this stuff, if you make a cab out of it, besides the crumbliness, getting the angle right, is you can't make a high dome cab, because if you make a high dome cab, then you won't see that as well. So you got to kind of keep a flat cab going, so we'll see how we do here. So kind of excited. Let's go downstairs and start the process. Okay, we're over here on my beloved 5-inch trim saw. We're going to cut this piece of Labradorite. We're going to cut the corners off here. I'm going to use this saw because I think it's going to be a little safer with crumbly looking rocks like this. All right, that is all the closer I'm going to get to this one here. Let's take a look at that. This is going to look really good if it survives. All right, let's move over to the cabber. All right, I'm on my Kingsley North 6-inch cabbing machine here, and I got an 80 grit, a 220 grit, and a 280 grit. So the plan is I'm going to take and kind of work the back down to the line. We'll start in the 80 grit and then we'll move over to 220 grit and then finish it up on the 280. Okay, let's see how it goes. All right, I'm a little nervous with this stuff because it looks really crumbly, so I'm going to move over to 220 grit now. It might take a little longer, but at least I'm not as nervous here. Okay, now remember we're dealing with the radius here, so don't stop on the hard wheel or you'll grind a flat spot into it. All right, I think we did okay there. I'm going to move on to the 280 grit. All right, I think we're all set here. I am going to put it on the dop pot, heat it up so we can put a dop stick on it and see what we can do. So, be back in a minute here. All right, we're all dopped up here. Basically, all I'm doing is gluing a dowel to the cab with some lapidary wax. And we'll start with the 80 grit, then we'll move on to 220 grit, and then to the 280 grit. So let's start cabbing. Alright, so what I'm doing here is I established a girdle. That's this flat spot you can see right here, all the way around the stone. Probably about an 1/8 inch to 2 millimeter-ish. And I came in at an angle like this. And once I established my girdle, now I'm going to go, I'm not going to come back down here. I'm going to go to this edge here. I'm going to start cutting this edge and work my way towards the center here. And then when I get that far enough, then I'll hit that edge and work it, and then we'll start doming it. Alright, so now there's my first cut, and then I kind of worked my way towards the center. It's got a little flat spot right here, but I'm going to go ahead and start doming because I can dome this out without, but you could conceivably go all the way to the center of the stone by just cutting angles in there like that, but usually I get so far and then I just start doming it. I can still see I got a little flat spot right in the center there, but it's starting to come along. Alright, I'm liking the dome's looking pretty good, nice and flat. Got the shine still in there. Now we're going to move over to the 220 grit. Alright, liking that. Going to move on to the 280 grit. Take a look at it here. Okay. What we got? A little more off the back. Yeah, I'm liking that. All right, now we're going to move on to the, look at that. We're going to move on to the polishing side. So I'm going to shut you off for a second here. All right, we're on the polishing side of my cabinet machine here. I got a 600, a 1200, a 3000, and then I got a cerium oxide disc over here. So let's get going here. We'll start with the 600. Okay, move on to the 1200 grit. All right, now to 3000. All right, that's just on the 3000 there. So now I'm going to take it over onto the cerium oxide and see if we can bump this shine a little bit. So this is a cerium oxide impregnated adhesive disc that sticks on a foamy pad that attaches to the end of the shaft on my caber here. This is replaceable. You just got to use a hair dryer or something warm to get it off, or do whole chunks of foam off of it. You don't want to do that. I like it because it's not messy and it's replaceable. right, let's see what we can do here. All right, let's see what we got. A little towel, a little pant leg. Oh yeah, I'm liking that. So let's go throw this in the freezer, and then we'll bring it back and finish the back side. And let's even get the shine for you. Look at that. All right, see you upstairs. All right, so we're at our freezer here, and I'm gonna set it on the bag there, and it can stay in there for, you know, at least 20 minutes. You can leave it in there overnight, but 20 minutes to half an hour is enough time for it to get frozen. So then once we get that out, we're going to take it in the sink there and pop the rock off. All right, we're at the sink here, and what I usually do is I run them under hot water to pop them off the dop stick after it's out of the freezer. So we'll turn the water on, pull the drain, and just put it right underneath there like that. Sometimes they come right off, sometimes you got to help them a little bit, and sometimes you got to throw them back in the freezer. Here, came right off. There you go. All right, let's take it. Let's go downstairs and finish off the back. All right, we're gonna finish it up. So you saw me take it off the dop stick. Sometimes you'll get a chunk of wax, and I usually just use the backside of the butter knife and pop it off with that. But then in this case, it came off pretty clean. So what I usually do, I run it on the 280 grit to take the line off, because you still got the line from the template, and any glue, little chunks of glue, and then kind of smooth out the back a little bit. All right, now this is a step you got to be careful, because you can mess up a cab and have to start all over again, put it on a stick and take the edges off. And that's, I kind of go at it at a 40-degree angle, and I kind of grind this edge off right here. Don't push really hard. You go around 2 or 3 times, that should be enough. Now, you could go down 4 or 5 times. Now I'm going to move over to the 600 grit and do the same thing. All right, now we're over here in the 600 grit. So we'll just do the back. And I kind of run it over the edges again. And that's it. Let's go upstairs and take a close look at this. Let's see what we ended up with. It don't get much better than that. I think I hit it. I got a really good, what we call it, Labradorescent. So I'll put the word down there again. Man, I like the royal blue. This comes in a lot of colors, anywhere from gold to dark blue like this. There's the back side. There is the front side. Got a really nice shine on it, and this stuff does shine. I've done some of this before, but it's just, I could look at this stuff for hours. It's just crazy how the colors you can get. But it's a lot of work. If you don't cut it right, you're not going to get this shine like that. All right, so there you have it. Now, this will end up on the Etsy page, and it'll be there to look at. And if you want to buy it, go for it. So, episode 51, Labradorite. Well, I hope you enjoyed watching me make a cool cabochon of Labradorite. So we took a chunk of this, and we made an absolutely beautiful cabochon. I think we hit the Labradorescence correct on this one here. So, yeah, nice. So thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. I'd like to thank the subscribers out there for subscribing. Keep kind of inching my numbers up. The viewers out there, I appreciate that too. If you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing. Buttons down below. When you subscribe or when you watch it, give me a thumbs up, because that gets the analytics out there so more people can find this content. And then they had a hyperlink on a mobile device, and then you can ring the bell so you get notifications when my videos come out. And then you could share it on other social media platforms with your friends and family or people you don't like, I don't know. And then this video comes out every Saturday where I make a cabochon from the rough rocker to slab all the way to the finished product that you saw here. And then on Wednesday, I have another video where I cut rocks in half and we look at the insides of that. And then I make 10 cabochons out of that. I don't show that on the video, but I'll show it at the end of the video of the cabochons I make from the previous video. I know it sounds kind of complicated, but it works out. So next week, I got a piece of, I'm gonna put the name down here because I can't believe it sounds like this. This is blue apatite. So right there is what it's called. So this will be next week's cabochon. So come on back and see that. So I appreciate you watching. Oh, I'm gonna put my #1 video up here where I started making the cabs and kind of explains things a little more in depth. And then I'll put another video over here, or no, YouTube will put another video over here. I don't know what they're gonna put up. I don't care, as long as it's one of mine. So thanks again for watching. That's all I got, and I'll catch you later.